There we go. That all works fine. He hopes, he thinks, he prays. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Light Bite, the Friday afternoon lunchtime stream where we make something semi-book related. I'm Cennamo-Smith. I am an author, digital artist, animator, nerd in general. This is my stream. Welcome. If you found me, hello. Hi, nice to see you. How was your Friday going? How has your week been? Were you here last week? Were you here during the week? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. So, to catch up what we're doing, we are continuing on from last week where we made where we started making a book cover for Artist Below J.S.P, releasing her first romance novel coming out, hopefully later this year. Come on, hurry up. Been waiting too long. In the interim, things have been relatively busy. I've not done a lot of work for two reasons. One, I've been quite busy with other things. Two, somebody told me to start watching Solo Leveling, and I started it on Tuesday and I finished it on Thursday. So that's where my week went. How about yours? What we are doing today, though, excuse me, clear his throat, is continuing from the brief of last week. Well, I say we're continuing on the brief of last week. We're ignoring the brief from last week. So last week we did the brief, and it was all right, but I think it could be better. Consensus was it could be better. It could be more colourful. It could be more interesting. What we finished with last time, I don't know if I have it somewhere. Where is it? That's the thing. There's a sneak preview of other things that are coming up. I'm just going to do. There we go. Disappeared. Oh dear, what happened there? Let me see if I can find it, because those are some other things that are coming out later on. Where on earth is... I label things correctly, I promise. Projects. Where are you? Oh, different, wrong folder. Where did we finish? That was last Friday, wasn't it? He says, hopefully, loading on my screen to check. No. Where on earth? As always, very prepared, going very well. I thought we saved it. Apparently not. Oh well. Anyway, I'll turn the screen back on now. There we go. Anyway, so in the interim, I did a bit more sketching. My daughter also had some handiwork there. That's the font she recommended. Yeah, beautiful handwriting. I decided I wasn't very happy with what we came with last week, which was like this kind of Sparky app. Where is it? The one that you just saw here. This one. If you load, come on. Oh, you're not going to load because there's another window. Yeah. Anyway, this one here. Wasn't very happy with that. Didn't look very interesting. So I came up with this instead. After a series of trial and errors. I just had an idea and followed it, and I think it looks a bit better. So what that means today, where we are is the music playing? It's not. There we go. Now we have music. I will say as well, for copyright reasons, do not own any of this music. Right down here, yep, this is the song and artist available on Spotify. Link to the playlist is in the description. So go and listen, join on, follow artist, share and share alike. Am I worried about copyright strikes? Not particularly. I don't plan on making any money out of this. Oh, ... Hello, streamer. Hello, Flaz Flame. How are you? Welcome back. Welcome to where we left off. Hello. Right, you are in for something today because I remembered what you said last week where you disappeared and there was suddenly a phone. So, where we are this week is This is where I think this is where we are. No, that's a Photoshop document. That didn't work. Oh dear. Where on earth is everything? I am so unprepared. Anyway, how are you? So yeah, where we ended up yesterday, where I ended up at some point during this week, was with this. And just to do a quick of how on earth do you get from A to B, quite simply, if we're gonna play. Are you gonna play? There we go. This is where we ended up last week, and I'm gonna. Can you speed this along? Can you increase speed? There we go. Let's do 2 times. Cusp. So yeah, I'll just kind of scan along. Basically, a little quick tutorial for you. Found a plan of an iPhone on Google, and pretty much built it. This in total took about 30 minutes worth of work. Just to make a phone primarily for this. So that goes away, and this is what we're at now. So we have new app logo, new phone design to make it a bit more modern, because I think the phone I was using last time was like an iPhone 2 or something, because that's how long ago that's how long I've been making 3D models. So what we're doing today, and I've got some Blue Peter style, for those of you who are familiar with Blue Peter, I have some here's one that I made earlier kind of things ready to rock and roll, because some of this took a little while. But I'm going to basically show how I made what is coming up. So what I decided was I didn't like the plain background. I wanted it to be kind of cool, and not cool, but because that's the wrong word. I wanted it to be a bit more interesting than just a plain white void. Spoke to my friend, and I hope she watched the video. She gave me absolutely zero feedback, so thank you for that. That's it. Did you actually give me feedback? Let me just check. Oh yeah, she wanted a more splattery effect. There you go. That's the effect that was requested. So we might do that later, but I'm not focusing on that at the moment. Sorry, Jules. But we are going to make it a bit more interesting. Yeah, the sketch of what she wanted never came. So c'est la vie. That's what we're doing here today. So today we're pretty much just going to make silk. And there's lots of ways you can make silk. This is how I do it pretty much. And it starts with a good old bit of landscape. So let's make it nice and crinkled. I don't need to be that, so 500 maybe. So that looks semi alright. And there is going to be method to this madness at some point. I thought we needed the author. Why are you suddenly not liking it? I sense a contradiction. We do need the author, and she has watched the stream, but she gave absolutely no feedback. So what we're doing is kind of following along a little bit and having a bit of a here's what could be done. She knows I'm doing this. I'm not just doing all this out of the blue. Yeah, but I hope that she's at work right now. So obviously can't really be here for this. What I'm doing here will make absolutely no sense for a little while, but that's fine. It doesn't need to. Alright, okay. What we're doing here is making this a problem. There we go, we don't need to see it. There we go, that's out of the way. We have our texture now, and this is perfectly going to be our silk. We're going to make it look a bit more wrinkled and ruffled. About 50, friction 1, friction 80, no, 880, there we go. Now the reason I've done here's what comes early, because this sort of thing takes a while to load and run, mostly because I wanted it to look good and wanted it to function well. And this sort of thing, it's basically sitting here for a while doing other things whilst you watch a percentage calculator go up, and then it's all faffing around with various textures. And you can see how long this takes. How have you been? How's your week going? Ooh, knocking everything over on my desk. I guess I did like. I thought for the previous cover where we had the logo on the phone on the white background, It was alright, but I don't think it jumped out. You're not going to walk past that in a bookshop and go for it, really, are you? It's not going to be the thing that draws your eye in. You want something bright and colourful and vibrant, something that kind of pulls you in a bit more. And a white background, unless the text like covers the entire page, a la some current authors and various other writers, I don't really think that's going to jump out at you. You want bright and colourful and vibrant, and oh god. So this was a lot of doing this for absolutely ages until I got something that I was relatively happy with. So this should. There we go. We have silk, or ruffled silk at the very least. So yeah, looks a bit more interesting than just a plain white background. And what we're then going to do is going to remove the tag, and we can remove that as well because we don't need it. And we can add a nice little texture to it. Are you going to be able to see this? Haha, there we go. Probably I try and do these I try and record this to show what I've been doing, like to put on Patreon and various other places, and it only ever records like the main window. It never records the texture bit, so there's always like a plain empty section where I'm talking and you can't see a single thing that I'm doing. I don't know why it doesn't record everything properly. So what we're doing is removing all the default stuff because that's no fun, and we're quite simply making a cloth texture. That looks naff. We can fix that though, right? We don't need suits. What do we need? Can we use a nice bit of linen? Is that going to look a bit nicer? Right. That's just lining, not linen. That's why. Sturdy fabric. What did I go for last time? That looks a bit more silky. There we go. We want that to be about 25 and 25, so you can just about see the texture, but it's not too thick. Let's take maybe 10 and 10. There we go. Let's give it a nice pinkish hue. 300. Times New Roman, yeah. Tell you what, we're going to do that. I will do a cover purely with Times New Roman font just for you, and we'll see how it looks. Just a white. It's going to be a pure white background, Times New Roman font, and that's it. Nothing else. It's going to draw in people just on the sheer gore of it. Gore? Gore. That is the right word, but it doesn't sound right the way I'm saying it. So we'll pretend I'm not. Yeah. Physical render. What we again, you're basically learning how I do absolutely everything on this software, because all of this is now autopilot. So what we don't want is we do not want default lights because they are dull. We've got enough there not to make this burn out, because this is just pretty much showing what I was experimenting with during the week. I'm not going to make you watch this entire thing render because it took about 15 minutes just to render, and that's a waste of a stream, really, isn't it? Yeah, I'm also not saying it to the settings I had because I went for 300 DPI. That should be alright. That's really... That's exactly what we want. Educated individuals buying romance novels. I'm sure they will, actually. Again, never bought or read a romance novel, but I know what they look like when they're not just porn. Don't want to be seen by camera, want to be seen by reflections. And what we do need is a bit of a bump texture. So it's my texture folder. I have a silk texture. Might be too much. There we go. That should be enough. This is quite literally the digital equivalent of watching paint dry. We are watching. This is now the new paint drying simulator, which I was shocked to find out is actually a game. So all of this. Okay. Yeah, this is very low quality, but you can kind of see the vein it was going for. So I'm not going to make you watch the entire loading screen. You've got like the bit of grain, bit of floss, that's the wrong word, bit of something going on here. You have no idea how long I have spent just sitting here and waiting for shit like this to render, just to realise in the last second something is slightly wrong or could be better. But this is, in a nutshell, how you make silk without any fancy add-ons or plugins, because everything I was looking for as like a good example of how to do this required Octane or Red something or other or Houdini. Like, they just all required additional softwares and programs to do it, and you can make pretty good stuff with the base programs if you're willing to spend the time figuring it out and not getting another program to do it for you by default. But if you can afford default, go for default. If you can afford these fancy programs, but I ain't wasting money. Yeah. Anyway, you see what we were going for. This is... Yeah, whilst this is going, let's see if I can... Let's get the thing. So, whilst that's doing in the background, I made a few things, and you're going to see why in a second it's like the way it is. So this is the silk I kind of ended up with. Can we get it at 100%? So yeah, again, not perfect, but this is kind of just the test. I can render out, if required, at full SCMKY 300 dpi scale imagery, but for certain things, I know for my books personally, that took, for one of my covers, it took nearly 10 hours to render out the full front cover. Why is it pink? It should be the colour of blood, like a dark shiny red. Alright then. You want... One second. Let's convert to smart object. Smart objects are definitely the way to go. Hue and saturation. Done. G. There we go, that should be alright. There you go, is that nice and blood red enough for you, Plaz? Wow. Symbol of true love in any vampire fiction. Right, this is quite surely just the foam without the background. Don't need that anymore. What we do need is this. So there's the phone. It's always good to render out your things in separate layers so that you can mess with them as and when you need. That is now a bit too bright though. Doesn't stand out properly, so we're again gonna mess with things. Is that a smart object? Yeah. That did nothing. Let's do it the easy way. Very crimson. Love it. Good. I'm glad you're happy. You are. This is your book cover now, yeah? We can try. The colour of blood and embroidered it out. As a married man, I will not agree with you on principle that my wife might watch this stream. No. I hear a cat meowing outside and I'm worried because that usually means she's caught something. The last thing I want is for her to run in here carrying something. One moment for a semi-cat related emergency. Back. I'm sure you missed me. Anyway, where were we? So, again, now it's just a case of messing around. And this is more, I say more or less, this is not exactly what I was thinking, because no, I don't want you to be there. You need to be... if we turn down the opacity, it to be slightly paler. We want the blood red, or shall we try for a nice kind of light pink? Oh, why are you on the wrong layer? Why? Let's get corrupted and changed. Possibly. Again, I have never used a dating app. I have no idea. I'm quite literally barking up the wrong tree. But I think that has rendered not quite correctly, because that is too much highlight coming from something which should be obscured. So I might need to render that bit out again. Go away. So let's do that in the background while other things are happening. Cover all full. Is that it? There we go. Right. This is where everything kind of went. And silk back on. And it's not you. Which one was silk? Was it you? That's phone. What's in here? Another phone. That's it. There we go. But what we need is for this to be, for this render in particular, not to be seen by camera. No, that's the wrong one. There. That one. Where's that going? Down there. Somewhere this is meant to function. We'll see if that works. I'm going to render out a backup just in case. Phone 2. So that can go on in the background whilst we're dilly-dallying over here. Back into Photoshop. Nothing wrong with your brain being a little loose. Just get I was about to say get a screwdriver. You don't get a screwdriver. Do not follow my advice. I'm not a trained medical professional. So, ignoring the fact that the phone is a little brighter than it should be right now, which it definitely is. I wanted that to be a bit paler, a bit darker. What if I invert that? Stands out a bit more, but that's clearly the shadows aren't quite right on that. This. I'll just delete something from Smart. There we go. This is a lot of this is a lot of faffing when it comes to these sorts of things until you're happy with what you like. And again, the reason I've gone with so that it's like an entire page is for when you're doing this sort of thing. You've got, again, this is not accurate, but front cover, spine, back cover, and enough space to mess around and reorganize things if you need to. And so you have that. I like having a consistent cover, a consistent texture all the way around a book. If you look at any of mine, you'll definitely see that there's a nice kind of texture, nice parchmenty texture with magic symbols on it that wraps all the way around in like a continuous thing. So it's blends it in. I think it's better when books are that instead of having like a picture on the front, solid spine, and then picture on the back. If that makes sense. Well, I could sleep as I rushed the completion of my power chapter head first. I had to sacrifice one thing in the name of efficiency. Sleep was culled. Sleep is often culled. I'm fully in favour of culling sleep as and when you need to. I don't really sleep anyway because yay insomnia. But that's something. Right, okay. We're going to leave that for the time being because we might also try whatever it is Jules wants to try. And just for you, Flowers, where is my Times New Roman? There you are. That's heavily the want you to be semi in line with that. Yep. 80. Please also let me know if the music is too loud. I had to edit the previous one because of things. Now, do we need the dating entry at the top again and make that smaller? So there's your Times New Roman. Where's the V? Okay, there we go. Times New Roman. Beautiful. Maybe pink or lack of a better word, it feels it's like the colour does look depressed. Need it to be more bright and bright. Again, it's off-putting me because the phone has got light coming from behind when it shouldn't, but that was down to my bad rendering. There we go, that's dark. Oh, you finished. Sweet. That was quicker than it was. Oh yeah, because it's just... Load. 1, 2, there we go. Oop. Da, da, da. Convert to smart object, there we go. Where's duplicate gone? Duplicate layer onto silk. Okay. Ciao. Yeah, save. I'm going to do that again anyway. Might as well save because again it's just added an alpha channel. Right. Copy those smart filters down to there. Yeah, that one had too much highlighting on it there. That one's now a bit too. Ooh, I need to mess with those curves. Yeah. Again, this is where it comes with. This is just a layout setup, just to see exactly what needs to be done, if anything. I wanted to pop a bit more than that, but yeah, we're working with something. We send this to the designer, or the author rather, and get her to go, yeah, I like it, or yeah, I want something completely different, as is often the case with most works. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that for the time being, just for the sake of getting it. Now the font is completely lost in the nice pale print. I hope that looks less depressed. I'm not sure about having the text on there and on there at the same time. I might have to make the phone a bit smaller. Again, this is all the thought process. Make the phone a bit smaller, increase the size of the app, maybe remove the font there, add like the normal things. I assume the normal things you get, like login, password bars, to make it look like an actual functioning app. I need to find somebody with Tinder to show me how their app works, so I can just copy it effectively. Yeah, shrink the phone, which I can't do in a minute because. So yeah, if we work on the principle of shrinking phone, lifting together to the top, which means we'd have to bring the phone down to the middle, bring J.S.P up, and we make all the font a little bit bigger, a little bit more bump in your face. Unfortunately, I don't think she'll appreciate Times New Roman. Let's stick with the white. So that kind of pops a little bit better. What was this mea culpa that we used in the end? No. Oh, that's you. There we go. Connecticut. That's what I decided on in the end. J.S.P is such a cool pen now. I kind of base mine. Well, I shall let her know. Your pen name is a hit, Jay. No. Need to be legible, but not. I could make it the D&D font. She might not appreciate that. What are we going with? Make it the Pokemon font. She definitely won't appreciate that. Oh, that looks kind of more. Not. Ooh, that's the wrong. And then. Okay, it's something. There's something. We've got something going on there. The phone we could probably then make. I'm going to name these things phone. Would it need to be straighter perhaps? Again, this is now no longer matching the silky background. Wood. A nice little bit of black edging. Just enough to make that. That makes it pop a little bit more, I think. Yeah. But if we increase up to 10. Oh no. You don't press enter until we're done. And that's 10 with fade. 10% with fade. That looks a bit better. Style, post style, there we go. That is a bit of something. Send her. Yes, I took a photo. Yes, I'm actually just going to send this to her now. Get some live feedback since she's not here. Where are you? Watching a man text. There we go. Okay. That's something. So that's something. We can work with that. Right. Great. There we go. Let's start again. Hundreds of words came to my mind and somehow lamer one. I missed a comment, how do I? It does kind of suck that I don't have a double first name. I can't do the full 3 starting letters. I had just happened with 2, and it feels like. Here's an interesting thing for you. You can make one up for multiple reasons. One, to sound a bit more professional. One, or to kind of separate yourself from things. For example, there's English actor Richard E. Grant has no middle name, he added the E. Because there was already an actor in the guild called Richard Grant, and SAG rules can't address the same name. Same for Michael B. Jordan, because Michael Jordan, the basketball player, was in Space Jam. He is in SAG as Michael Jordan, so Michael B. Jordan added the B to get into SAG. Make up a letter. What's your favourite letter, Plaz? Put an F in there. Yeah, just in the middle of it. As your little thing, you are F. Whatever your initials are going to be something F something. There you go. Like F Fitzgerald. Yeah. Right, so now what we did get as a small amount of feedback with what she had. I really like the white. So this is the feedback I got. Just look, I really like the white background. It could also be cream. Okay. Colorblind man is going to have to Google what color cream is. Think of the color a bit more like a paint splatter. And the examples I was sent was. Can you see that on the camera? I can't see it on my camera. There we go. So that's what we got. So should we make some paint splatters, or we can just? Again, we could just, for the sake of getting some examples. Do I have any paint splatter textures? Fair enough. Oh, you got time. You can practice a new signature. Where's that gone? Okay. Right, I don't know if I have any paint splatter textures already. Where's my texture library? Textures, paint. Got some alpha patterns. Those are further things. Paint smooth. I don't really have any paint splatters. Let's bring in the alpha channels though, just for giggles. Where are you? Paint splats. Open. Bring them all in. Oh, that's not what I intended to do. Be gone. There we go. Thank you. Textures, paint. I just wanted to pull them into there at full scale, apparently. Are you gonna semi-behave? Is this a murder romance? Could be. I will admit I've not read it. Let's see what we're working with here. What splatter of things do I have? This looks. Yeah, now that you've said that, all I can that is a blood splatter for sure. Let's remove that one. Okay. Crimson Background will definitely fit. It really would. I'll make this a murder. Yeah, a murder mystery called The Dating App would be so on the nose. Hey Jules, I want to work on something else. Right, let's go for auto select because let's just do this one right in the middle because so a horrific thought has come to my head, and you know when you have really bad not necessarily bad thoughts, but thoughts that you probably shouldn't vocalize. I'm going to vocalize, and I'm going to do something that's going to upset people. Because quite literally, if you now it's a romance novel. I'm a horrible person. I'm sorry. Let's not do that again. Right. New cover for 50 Shades of Grey. I don't know. The second one was like red wax stamp. It did look like a red wax stamp, so let's not bother with that one. Yeah, we don't need a wax stamp. Right, let's see if we can. Let's see what we're working with. What? Hang on a second. Why are you grayscale? Okay, there we go. Why on earth were you grayscale, and why is it? There we go. Select the colour I'm telling you to. Sorry. You see, just cut up there. Sorry, that made me laugh too much to not share. Please don't watch this, Jill. Or at least forgive me when you do. No. So I literally just work down the colour wheel. Yes, shenanigans won't be forgotten. No! Oh no, it's on the internet forever. Ah, they warned me. They warned me. What happens on the internet stays on the internet. But did I listen? No, I was busy making inappropriate comments. Worth it. Okay. Right. Oh. Oop. Probably should have actually labeled this. So this is red. What are you? Pink. Green. Blue. This is where you learn exactly how colourblind I am, because these could be wrong. This is a very explosive romance. Yes. We sold 1 million copies, but only because the pages kept getting stuck together. Fluor is not how you spell turquoise, but right, let's turn off auto select. We want to turn off auto select, so we just want to move the red. And do we? So then what happens if we no? No, okay, we don't do that. And did we just? Nah, it pales everything out a bit too much. What do we want? We want width of 5.5 and 8.5. There we go. That's what we want. Why is that what we want? Because that's usually standard book cover size. Oh no, don't delete cropped area. Do not delete cropped area. I need cropped area. The music in that is currently on is not helping my case, is it? Oh, boo you. Sorry, let's just merge the group. Purple. Blue needs to be there we go. Yellow needs to be further up. Green needs to be further down. I should have done this. I just don't know why I was trying to save myself any sort of time and effort. Okay, we can go back onto auto select now. Very good, yeah. Does not scream romance. Very much screams Teletubby jizz. Do not Google Teletubbies if you're not familiar with them. That makes it significantly more inappropriate. Right, so we've got our... No, that's not how you spell splatter. I'm gonna go with the same fonts because I like them and I've not been told otherwise. 80 points, no. 50 points, no. 200 points, yeah. That's the wrong colours entirely. Centre. 300 points. You need to be centred, I said. 350. That's getting lost now, isn't it? In everything, it seems. I'm going to add the outer glow back on just to make it pop a little more. No. We should look at the model design on Empress. Inspiration. Am I going to regret Googling Empress Teresa? It's at the mood. Give it the sunset, cold atmosphere, maybe some candles, some roses at the room. I'm going to Google this, but I'm going to do it in private browsing. And not on stream. Because... What the fuck is that? Pardon my French. What is this? What on earth is this? Okay. I wasn't off-putting the way that I usually am. But I still don't feel well after looking at that. We're going to put... Position you there. I'm going to join that together. We're going to turn off auto select again because irritation. And I no longer feel that this kind of nice curly font suits the style that we've gone for. I'm going to add back into it. I'm also going to still give it the outer shadow, but I no longer feel it fits the vibe. Did I add a drop shadow or an outer glow? Did I add an outer glow? Just right. Okay, we're back to the font boards. I'm gonna please you, Flaz. Not in that way, but by just going straight for Times New Roman again. I hope you are happy. Why Why do I keep putting that there? I'm not entirely sure. I've got that just designs are stuck in my head. Right, is that italic? No. Bold. You know what? I liked the sunset comment. Let us. What colour is a sunset? Let's have a look. I liked the art. I was incredibly off-put by the art. I googled sunset and it just told me what time sunset was. Right. Right. I wonder. Let us take that colour there and that colour there. Go away now. Give it a full from top to bottom. Yeah. Let's. What colour is cream? There we go. Let's hashtag EDEHDO. No, okay, that's not right. FDS 804. I do not trust this in the slightest. Anybody curious, this is how colourblind people use Photoshop. You're finding it yourself, I saw the look for a random book review. I can tell he made it himself. Well done for having the cojones to publish that. Fuck. Just goes to show you. Don't have to be talented to design a book cover. Oh, why did that? As I'm clearly demonstrating right here. I'm not sure. I don't. It looks more like an art book. I'm going to send it to her as well. We're going to see if this is what she had in mind. Ignoring font. Is this what you had in mind? And camera. Send. I have received no feedback from this at all. I'm questioning so many things right now. Mostly my sanity. Especially after seeing that. Anyway, as we say, everything is at the end down to the author. But while I have at least a small audience here, what are we thinking? Silky or paint strap? Can you do polls in YouTube chats? You can add participants in there. No, you can't do a poll. Yeah, I'll put it on YouTube maybe. Very interesting. Yeah. Nothing. It doesn't scream. Yeah, she claimed it's not a. Well. Maybe. Just maybe. I'm the problem here. There's a good chance. Right, let's find a nice solid. What should we go for? I want the white paint and black. You're a deviant, that's why. Absolute deviant. The phone in the paint. This, sir. So, yeah, you like that. So, duplicate layer. Untitled 1. Untitled Goose Game. Stands out a bit more. Wait. That could be the background of the phone. Where's my stuff? Where's my projects? Is this the right phone screen? It is. Go away. CMYK splatter. Phone screen. Definitely not safe. Ooh. So let's, for the sake of it, can I just pull everything in? Where's the red one? Red. No, not red. That's the one that's disappeared off the corner. So pink, turquoise, pull the green down a little bit over here. Turn you reds. No feedback. I have it actually. Have it actually be an app and a cover art as the background to fill the space. This is a good idea. You should either give it a black outline or fully black. Right, let's give it a black outline first. Let's give it a full spread. So what do you think? With, without, with, without. That makes it pop. Maybe not a full 20% and more of a spread, a larger one but less of a spread, so it fades out a little bit more. So that's just enough to make it pop without being blatant. And we can, for the sake of this, remove that, lower the app down there. Nope. Nope. Logo. Oh, you're getting on me tits. Right. Gonna minimize. Okay, for the sake. Let's undo all of that. There we go. So if we remove the splatter here, leave it as the text. Imagine we can have the phone ignoring that it's angled at the minute. I can redo that but make it straight. We're running over now, but I blame you, Glaz, because you had a good idea. How dare you? Well, so this is entirely your fault now that. There we go. I'm going to be late to do my food shopping. That. That. There we go. No. Hi! Frickin'. There we go. Go back to. There we go. That's where we want that one to stay. That right in the middle there. Move everything down. This is what absolutely no. So we're nailing it. Yeah, we're doing good. You know, I like that better. I'm gonna make her initials smaller. I'm gonna make. Bring down the. Well, this is where you label things. That I'm gonna let's make. No, that's the phone. Let's make the text black. No. Let's make the text pop. I need to increase the outer glow on you. Spread. Yeah, okay. Maybe we should actually write around how hard can it possibly be? It'd be fine. Give it a go. One of the best-selling romance novels in the world is 50 Shades of Grey, which was Twilight fan fiction. It really can't be that difficult. I have not read 50 Shades. However, people have sent me snippets from said book just to go, what the hell was the editor thinking? Because they're... Why am I doing that? A little bit of a... a slight gradient, because that's too... where's the brightness? Slight gradient shift or other way. I think it should come down, and what I am going to do is, where's my library again? Textures, we're going to find silk. You are king. I want like the faintest of textures. That's it, and we're in the soft light. Does not need to be a smart filter. What was it? Soft lights. Gives it a little bit more something. Yeah, soft light. I'll send that to her as well. See what we think. Right, but on that note, I have food shopping to be done. I'll let her know this was designed by chat. There we go. Right, and on that note, that was fun. I like this. This is good. I've sent. She now has 3 designs, which she will hopefully look at some point and give some kind of feedback on. Or if you are watching and you're just lurking, why are you lurking? Anyway, thank you as always for coming by. To do the sign off, I'm Cennamo-Smith. I am not a romance author. I am a author of fantasy, crime, detective, and mostly horror short stories lately, and some more macabre things. If you enjoyed the stream, a like goes a long way. A subscribe goes slightly longer. A comment is always appreciated. Thank you, Raz. I hope she will absolutely love it. If you like books or short stories, there's a link to my Patreon down below, where for the low sum of 3 of your Great British Pounds, or whatever your currency conversion that makes for you, you get a monthly episode of a short story, monthly episodes of a now 17-month-long series. So that's coming to a close. That's almost done. You get a fresh, unrelated short story every month. You get behind-the-scenes whip stuff. You get advanced info on release dates and publications from me. If you go for the top level of Patreon, you get all of my ebooks included for your downloading and enjoyment pleasure. This is too suspicious. Shh! Don't tell them. This is secretly my other pen name. No. So, as always, thank you for coming along. I will be back here next Friday, I think. I assume. I think so. I don't know. Time is an illusion. Lunchtime doubly so. Thank you for spending your lunchtime with me. I hope you have a lovely weekend and a lovely week ahead. Take care of yourselves and have a lovely day. Ciao. And we are.